We are in the suburbs of Paris to go and meet a man who I've spent a lot of time with. He's the official IFSC photographer, Mr. Jan Wert, and he's got a very special job at this year's Olympics. Hello, Jan.
Hey, how are you?
doing?
Good to see you.
Really good to see you.
Welcome to Paris.
Well, thank you for having me. This is your home.
Yeah, this is where we live these days in Paris, and yeah, it's an amazing place to be. City of love, city of lights, and city of traffic jams.
Yes, well, yeah, we experienced a bit of that. It's weird to see you here because, like, usually it's us in isolation zones or like press rooms at midnight drinking coffee. So this is very different.
Yeah, it is very different. I'm all clean. There's no chalk on my camera, and I like just to walk on the streets and take street photography and do something else, something different.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm in desperate need of a coffee. Have you got any suggestions?
There's a place around the corner. Let's go.
It's pretty around here. It's green. I sort of don't expect that in the middle of a city sometimes.
I love spring in Paris. You know, everything's blooming and it's really beautiful. They take care of old parks. They have amazing parks around here, and everything is taken care of, and it's super nice in the spring. Yeah, it's a great place to be. Paris is a crazy city. I mean, it's a love and hate relationship for me, and there's up and downs obviously to any big city, but it's accessible. You have train connection all over the Europe basically. Obviously there's cafes, there's brasseries, which I like to enjoy once in a while, but with the photography, it's great to get outdoors and shoot climbing and go in the nature just to, you know, breathe a little bit. But then you start to miss the energy of the city. So it's good to stay here for some shorter period of time and then just recharge again and in the mountains and elsewhere in France. You know, it's a good place to live. Yeah.
Nice. And the park.
And the park is beautiful. We go here all the time. I mean, this looks amazing. I'm going to take a photo right here.
That guy on the back.
This is great with the flowers. Yeah. The colors are so nice in the spring.
Or like foreground with the flowers. It's interesting that you like portraits or like people, because to me it's like climbing, although you've got nature and all the rest around it, it's about the person in that shot, like their emotions.
Yeah, 100%. It's a great point because it's normally we take portraits all the time.
Yeah.
You always have a climber. It's a climbing position, but it's a portrait. And I like to involve personality of each climber into the shot, and that's through the portrait. Yeah,
Are your favourite shots the ones where you see the emotion, or where it's like a beautiful, like in Chamonix where there's that amazing background, or is it when someone's like grimacing on a hold?
It's the hardest thing for me is to take photos of everything. It's just like to transform the energy and ambience of the place to whoever's looking at the photo, and that's part of it. You have to have the landscape, you have to have the portrait and the hard climbing.
We need to talk first of all about the most important job that you've got this year, which is the Olympics, because you are one of the IFSC photographers at the Olympic Games. So tell me a bit about that, because that's a huge deal.
It sounds surreal, right? It's like it's crazy, and you know, it's not the Parisian thing that it's happening in Paris because I live here and etc. But it's also one of the Olympics that will be really exciting due to the one in Tokyo wasn't probably the real Olympics, but yeah, I'm really excited for the event, and it'll be stressful, it'll be amazing, and there'll be a lot of energy, tears and smiles, but I'm really excited for it.
Tell me a bit about how you got to where you are, because I bet it wasn't plain sailing always.
No, it wasn't, and I think this was one of these things where I was in the right place at the right time. And that was in 2019 when I went to Chamonix, did some photos for myself, and then I asked IFSC if I can apply for the job, and I got an official contract in 2020. And since then, it's been an amazing journey, and I do understand people are always jealous, the other photographers are jealous on how good spot we have at the venue, and we can go backstage and we can go here and there, but it's just part of the story because we go there because we're basically telling a story of the event. We have to take shots of mostly every athlete, and we want them to we want to see them in the backstage. We want them to interact with the coaches, with the audience. We want them to sign the t-shirts, and it's the whole package. The whole event is not just climbing. People tend to think it's just the climbing. Getting the climbing shot is actually the easy part, but telling the story through the photos, it's another thing.
A normal day at an IFSC competition, What's that like? Like, what time do you get to that venue? What's your first kind of? Let's say it's a semi-final and final day. Talk me through it.
So if it's semi-final, final, you wake up early and you wake up tired. And I try to get there early, at least an hour if I can. Normally we're working, but I really force myself to be there early, talk to people around, talk to the athletes, to the coaches, to the staff, to volunteers, to anyone. And it helps me also to get in the mood of the venue, of the place, because I just hate to get there at the last minute. And even though we know what photos to take, you're kind of not ready for it. We basically have the gear ready. I try to prepare all the gear the night before to avoid any hassle, and then we go to the press room, we set everything up, look at the routes, so to route setters maybe and coaches as well, to get idea on what's the beta, what the moves are, because sometimes you try to predict the move and all of a sudden it's completely different. So
hang on, just break that down. So you would, for example, a big dyno, you want to know where the dyno is on the route, which direction the climber, so you can position yourself.
100%, and it's for some athletes it's easier, for some athletes it's harder. For example, Janja, I have some great shots of Janja, and she gives you only one chance per boulder basically. So you have to be ready. If you don't get the shots, you don't have a second chance. So it's good to have some ideas on where to start, and then you go from there.
We talked earlier about the athletes being, obviously part of that picture story, but the stadium and the arena is the other sort of character in it. So tell me about some shots that's special to you, things that you remember.
I really remember some shots of Oriane Bertone Laval, when she's very photogenic in general because she's got a lot of energy and emotions were in spot. I really liked Laval for her photos and for the photos of Toby, and it was an amazing event. And I really like when they top out the boulder and they celebrate and they're really happy, but what they tend to do is they turn different directions. So you think they will, top out with the right hand, they turn left and celebrate, but then all of a sudden they top out with the other hand and they celebrate to the right. So it's a tough one, but I have some shots of Oriane celebrating, and that was really impactful, I think.
And then, are there some shots that aren't necessarily climbing? Like, you talked about those moments sucking in the atmosphere, and you get to go to these special places like backstage. Have you got any photos that isn't on the arena, that's maybe an athlete being more sort of personal in themselves?
I have few nice portraits of athletes in the backstage, but also backstage is like specific place which is very thick. The air is very thick. It's very tense. Everybody's really focused, and I have this cool shot from Bern, from the World Championships, when there's climbers lined up and there's this guy telling them you can go, there's a red sign and green sign like traffic lights. And I have one shot of everyone really focused and in their zone, like really before the final round. And those photos are really important for me, and that's why we have access to those places.
Well, Jan, it's fascinating talking to you, and I could chat photography all day, as you know, but I think we're going to leave it here. And I hope everyone watching, they can't wait to see your photos, because you're going to be reporting, you're going to be on the front line bringing that footage in, so I can't wait to see those photos.
I'm excited, yeah.
But I'm going to eat some croissant now.
I love
Me first? Mate, help yourself. Cheers, yeah.
So the Parisians eat it like this, they eat it like that.
It's the tear.
They don't dip it in a coffee, but just eat it.
I've run out of coffee, so I can't do that. Thanks, yeah.
We're all excited for Paris 2024, but the event requires a huge amount of organisation. We head to the IOC office and meet the team who will help set up and run the competition.